Hi, my name is Emily Marcus, and today I'm going to be doing a speech on Abraham Lincoln and the Gettysburg Address. 77 years ago, Abraham Lincoln says this at the beginning of arguably the most important and recognizable speech in American history. While this speech is so well known by Americans everywhere today, this wasn't always the case. In this presentation, I'll give you some background information on Abraham Lincoln. I'll go into the historical significance of the Gettysburg Address. And finally, I will go into how the Gettysburg Address changed society for the better. Abraham Lincoln was born in Huron County, Kentucky on February 12, 1809, to two illiterate farmers, Thomas Lincoln and Nancy Hanks. Abraham Lincoln only had a rudimentary education himself, but that did not stop him from trying to read every book he could find. His father, however, did not support Abraham's thirst for knowledge and called him lazy for sitting at home and reading instead of working out in the field. Abraham Lincoln had a rocky relationship with his father, and it has been suggested that one of the reasons Abraham Lincoln was so against slavery is because when a young man under the age of 18 at this time had any kind of job, all of his wages went to his father instead of the young man being able to keep his wages, and Abraham Lincoln really resented that fact. Soon after he came of age, Abraham Lincoln moved to New Salem, Illinois, where he took on various odd jobs and finally got the education he desired. This sparked his love for politics, and he ran for legislature in 1832, and although he lost that election, he ran again in 1834 and won. While in the Illinois legislature, Abraham Lincoln met John T. Stuart. Stuart encouraged Lincoln's education and encouraged him to get his law degree. In 1836, Abraham Lincoln obtained his license, and he and Stuart became partners in a law firm. This sparked the beginning of Abraham Lincoln's lucrative law career. Lincoln was in the legislature for quite a while, and while he was in the legislature, he formed an opinion on slavery. He and his colleagues have been quoting saying that slavery was founded on both injustice and bad policy. After Lincoln retired from the legislature in 1841, he focused on his law practice, but this just made him hungrier for political office, so he ran for Congress and he won a seat in 1846. While in Congress, his political career was damaged by some controversy surrounding the Mexican-American War. This caused some heartbreaking defeats in Lincoln's political career until he finally won the presidential election in 1861. Although Lincoln finally achieved his goal of holding office, his experience as president was very difficult. In the first year of Lincoln's presidency, the Civil War began. Although no one knew at the time, the bloodiest war in the United States history had begun. In 1862, Abraham Lincoln decided to issue the Emancipation Proclamation, and on the 22nd of September, 1862, 5 days after the Battle of Antietam, he released the Emancipation Proclamation that freed the slaves. While it's been said that the Emancipation Proclamation did not immediately free any slaves, it did spark an increased war effort for the Union. The Emancipation Proclamation jump-started a campaign that recruited freed slaves to fight for the Union. This campaign resulted in almost 200,000 freed slaves to aid the Union war effort. On November 19, 1863, Abraham Lincoln gave his Gettysburg Address on the battlefield of Gettysburg, where 50,000 men were killed or wounded only 4 months before. On this battlefield, they were opening a cemetery to honor the dead, and this is where Abraham Lincoln gave his speech. Lincoln was actually the second speaker on that day, and he only spoke for a few minutes, as opposed to the person who spoke before him who spoke for 2 hours. The speaker before Lincoln actually overshadowed him with his long-winded and flowery speech. At the time, Abraham Lincoln's short and concise speaking style was not very well known, and he only spoke less than 300 words. It wasn't until Abraham Lincoln passed away that the country dissected his words and realized how impactful his speech really was. Lincoln's speech focused on the Declaration of Independence rather than the Constitution, and with this he also focused on freedom and equality, which was never really discussed until his speech. Abraham Lincoln also talked about the people's power in the government. This caused a more united nation because people really resonated with what he was saying. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here. Abraham Lincoln included this in his speech, and while he might have been correct initially, he never could have realized how impactful his words actually were. Thank you for listening to my speech. I hope you really enjoyed it, and I hope you've learned something valuable today. Thank you.